Okay, so we've made our data private, but we've introduced a problem. The problem is we can no longer change our data. In fact, we can't even read our data. The data is now completely encapsulated within the class of product, which is sometimes exactly what you want to do, but sometimes it isn't. And when it isn't, you never want to make your fields public. You have two options at this point. The simplest option, and the option you will see most common in many programming languages, is creating accessor methods. So let's say I wanted to have my name, I wanted to be able to retrieve the name from a product, but I don't want to be able to muck around with the data of name. I can make a method, public string getName, that returns name. By doing this, I can now get my name. So I can say console writeline product1.getName. The getName method is a way for me to expose private data publicly. So what about setting data? Well, setting data gets more complex because a class should never become invalid. You should always make sure that your class contains valid data, even if those checks are simply sanity checks. What I mean by a sanity check is a check to make sure that you aren't putting your code into an invalid state that should never ever happen. Because if there's one universal truth about programming, is that stuff that never ever ever should happen happens all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another accessor, but this accessor is going to return void, and it's going to be called setName. Okay, so now I can get the name and I can set the name without having public fields. So let's see what that looks like. So I can now say product1.setName and product1.getName, and I can hit F5 and the code works.